The Bushka. Look at that. There's a day ruiner right there. This is the Venom Diaries, where we milk Australia's deadliest snakes for their venom to create anti-venom that saves over 300 lives every single year. G'day everyone, welcome back to Venom Diaries. Today we are looking at the next generation. Now I'm not talking about the next keepers coming through, we've seen that last week like Logan. This week we're talking about the snakes, all right? So we're gonna have a look at some of the juveniles that are in the program, because we do sometimes breed some of the species we keep, because generally when we're collecting, we collect adults, right? So I'm gonna show you some of the captive bred stuff we've got. We're gonna start with probably the most dangerous of the juveniles, and that's the coastal taipans, all right? So I'm gonna get one out. They are hardcore, all right? They're so fast. They're extremely explosive and defensive, and they do make me very, very nervous, all right? Because they're such a short-bodied snake, and they are so fast, and every single one of these is a high caution, all right? So, I don't know where he is. He's not in his guide box. So yeah, when they're juveniles, we obviously don't milk them because they're so small. It'd be a waste of time. Well, he's getting ready to shed, this fella, so I'll leave this fella out. The juvenile snakes shed their skin more regularly than the adults because they're growing a lot more. Oh. So this is about a 9-month-old coastal taipan, and they are absolute headbangers at this size, but still, like the adults, they're really calculated in what they're doing, and taipans grow fast, really, really fast. And isn't it wild to think a snake this size, you know, he's only about 2 foot long, has enough venom in his head to literally kill about 1,000 people, all right? Seriously, seriously toxic. Now, there's a lot of old wives' tales with juvenile and hatchling venomous snakes, that they're more toxic than mum and dad and they don't know how to control their venom and all that sort of stuff. That's not the case at all. They're exactly the same as mum and dad. They're just generally a little bit more defensive because they're smaller, all right? They're not as confident as the bigger snakes. So they do react more, and they generally don't stop moving. They see how this one's just it's just trying to get away from me. All right. Eventually, he'll get used to the drill here, the regular handling. The hardest stage with the taipans is their early days in restraining them. They are terrifying. All right, like, oh, he just bit the bench there. They're so far. Oh, he's biting the bench. They're so fast, and they're so big. Like, this snake will be 7 foot long by the time it's 3 years of age, ready for milking. All right, huge. And they're so fast, they're so calculated. Oh, he just had a bite at the hook then. He's getting cranky. So he's got a really pale head, really, really pale head. That's really typical for a young taipan. It's almost, I've seen them literally almost white. And then they've got the spots on the belly like most of the brown snakes have got as well. Super, super whippy. I'd rather deal with an adult taipan any day than these juveniles. The first ever taipan I ever caught in the wild, all the way back in 2009, was in the middle of the night on the road in the wet season up outside of Cairns, and it was like a genuine hatchling. It was so small. It was like about maybe 35 centimeters long. It still had that clear look to it, like it had just come out of the egg. Really, really wild. Now, taipans, they've got that coffin-shaped head. They've got really big eyes. They're primarily diurnal, active in the daytime, but from time to time you do see them at night. I caught an absolute monster, like 2.5 meter snake at 2 o'clock in the morning once up in Cape York. See that? See his tongue's going flat out at the moment? I've probably said it before, but snakes actually smell with their tongue. They don't taste with it. Very different to us. Flick it in and out of the mouth, comes back in after catching some scent particles, hits a little organ in the top jaw there called a Jacobson's organ, and that'll tell him what he's smelling. Really, really wild. All right, so we're going to have a look at an adult a little bit later on upstairs, not in this facility. I don't have any adults in this facility. And later this year, a few months' time, I'm going to be going to far north Queensland to collect adult taipans, and I'll be taking you guys along with me. All right, so let's get this one away. In there, mister. Whew. Right, so we'll now cut that footage of the adult taipan. I'll show you that. P.S. While I gotcha, I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers. All right, so help me get there. Let's do it. People watching the channel, please hit that boom subscribe button and let's get to 10K. Alrighty, so we're just back at the old facility. So it's not as flash as the new one, but she's all right. And yeah, we've still got a small population up here, but I can't mix the two, if that makes sense. We're just about to start cleaning, so I've got it in a bin. It's a really nice taipan. Sorry, it's nice looking. Let's not say nice personality. So taipans in Australia, we've got 3 species. Alrighty, so we've got this one here, the coastal, the inland, which is the most venomous, and then we've got the western desert taipan. So it goes in regards to toxicity. Inland taipan is number 1, eastern brown is number 2, coastal taipan is number 3, and western desert taipan is number 4. All right, have a go how dark this snake is. Really, really nice, and this is typical for a certain locality. Just south of Cairns, they're generally quite dark. A lot of rainforest around there. They hang around the cane, and they're this really nice, almost like a maple syrup sort of a colour. But yeah, the taipans, they're the second biggest venomous snake in Australia. We do breed them. They're really easy to breed. They're really easy to get the juveniles going quickly. You know, like I was saying before, about 2.5 years or so, and I can get them at milking size. This snake here, it's actually sliding through my hands at the moment, is about 6 years old now. It's a female. So I'll probably breed with her, to be honest, in the next couple of years. Beautiful snake. And yeah, isn't it wild, like those little ones, you know, one bite, like literally it's got enough venom in it to kill about 1,000 people or so. Imagine the damage an adult like this could do. And you've probably heard me say it before, they were known as the killer of the cane field, all right? And we've got a whole wall on that in the Venom Centre. If you come and visit here at the Reptile Park, there's actually a video on the killer of the cane field. So while they're definitely one of my favourite snakes, but when it comes to catching wild snakes in Australia, these guys make me the most nervous, all right? And like I said with the little fella, we're going to be going and catching some big adults for the new facility. We're not going to catch many, just maybe 2 or 3. Bring them back, breed from them, and yeah, crazy venom yields. Second biggest venom yield of any of our venomous snakes in Australia. You know, you're looking at 200 to 300 milligrams of venom from a snake like this. The real big males can literally produce over 450 milligrams of venom from a single snake. Absolutely wild and very, very impressive. All right, I'm going to put this fella back in the bin. Alrighty, so next up is tiger snake. They're really, really small snakes. And at the moment, we're keeping them in clip-lock containers as they're getting a little bit bigger. Now, they're a live-bearing species, the old tiger snake, and they come out, they're literally like this long. So this guy's maybe 8 weeks old now. They're so small, we can't feed them like baby mice. So I've got to feed them fish, and I actually have to assist feed them. So I have to grab them by the head and I sort of put a little mouse, there's little fish in the mouth there and sort of encourage him to eat it. Like this is the 5th most venomous snake in the world, all right? And look, he's probably about 15 centimeters long now. All right, so that's it. So isn't that crazy that that snake is so dangerous, right? And he's keeping a track on me. He's looking at my hand right now. Look at his tongue going flat out. But yeah, in the wild, he'd be, like most baby reptiles get eaten, they get predated on by these things. They could be getting eaten by birds and other snakes, lizards, and so on. Even the larger frogs hanging around and eat a baby snake like this. And what he wants to do is he wants to take cover, hide, and eat as much food as he possibly can. So they'll eat baby fish, they'll eat tadpoles, they'll eat tiny little frogs that are morphing, and little skinks and geckos if you can find them. And yeah, really fast acting venom. And yeah, like literally that snake, one bite can kill me, no worries. If I was to take a bite from him, not use first aid, not seek anti-venom, I would be in a very bad way very, very quickly. And you would have seen on one of those recent videos, what happens when tiger snake venom hits your blood, it does that congealing. So it causes major clotting in your big blood vessels, and then eventually paralysing your central nervous system. So with that neurotoxin, all right. And they've got really big eyes, these baby tiger snakes. They are diurnal and nocturnal. All right, I've caught stacks of tiger snakes. Most people think you only see tiger snakes in the daytime, but it's not the case at all. I've caught plenty of them at night. And in particular, juveniles like this, I've seen them on the road getting a bit of warmth. Just these tiny little, cute little buttons, aren't they? Look at him, and he's got nice bands on him. He's a New South Wales snake, this one. I've seen clutches of tiger snakes where some of them are heavily banded like this fella, and others have no banding whatsoever. Really, really cool. And yeah, beautiful snake. So with the tigers, they're a little bit slower growing. He probably won't be in the milking stage of the program till he's probably 3.5 years of age. And then he will, have his venom taken once every fortnight. His venom will be literally used to save human lives, all right? So what we'll do now is I'll get this fella back in and we'll have a look at an adult, all right? We'll actually have a look at his mum. Alrighty, so mum's over here. He's actually a bit of a fiery one, this one. Really nice looking snake. Really flattens that neck out. Typical for a tiger snake. Put him up. And you can see like that baby's pretty well a mini version of mum. She's a really good looking snake. Real nice grey head, but you can see there her neck flattening out. Really typical tiger snake behaviour. It's almost like that cobra look. The neck flattening and the hooding, hissing, making herself look big and dangerous and carrying on. And she has got pretty decent sized venom glands on her. All right, now I'll get her restrained. And I'll just show you something quickly. When it comes to sexing snakes, there's a bit to it. So we use a stainless steel probe, right? And so you can see here is the vent. It's called the cloaca. Now the males have got, like snakes and lizards have got 2 wieners, right? So they sit inside there. They're called hemipenes. And what we do is we use these, it's called a sex probe, and we slide them either side up there. And if they go in short, it's a female. If they go in all the way up, maybe an inch or so, they're a boy. All right, because the gap in there is, how do I even say this? Look, there's just a longer like I would say a tube for the shaft. All right, that goes up there, if that makes sense. All right, so I'll actually do a video soon on sex and snakes. I'll show you how we do it. But for the moment, yeah, so they've got a much smaller head, these eastern tigers, compared to those Tassies that I milk as well. But still, good venom yield. And just the tiniest, smallest little fangs. Bit of venom sitting on there as well still. And yeah, these tiger snakes were responsible for the most human fatalities every single year in Australia up until about the mid-19th century. You can imagine pre-anti-venom, pre-first aid, well, first aid that works, that venom hitting your blood system and congealing in those major blood vessels would have just been disastrous. I've read back and studied through a lot of snake bites post anti-venom, and yeah, most of them were tiger snakes, you know. In those early days, you know, they settled around, I guess, Sydney and Melbourne and parts of Tassie and so on, and they encountered a lot of tiger snakes. And the old tiger snake unfortunately had a bounty on his head, down in Tassie in particular, for a long time. They used to be in insanely large numbers. Like, even like the guys that started the program here, like Eric Worrell and those fellas, when they used to go out and catch tiger snakes, they'd catch over 100 tiger snakes in one day. When I go out looking for them, I'm pressed to find 3 or 4. All right, so in some areas you still get strong numbers, but unfortunately not as many, and that comes down to probably more so habitat loss. All right, so they are habitat specific, and if the right habitat's not there, you're not going to have them. All right, thanks, Mama. We'll get her back. Isn't she good looking? Look at the bands on her. Really nice looking snake. Yeah, really bright, heavily banded, beautiful, beautiful looking snake. I get asked this question all the time. And I have put up a few videos on my Insta, and I think I've done it on previous Venom Diary videos, but how we release the snakes. So literally, I just come into the enclosure like so, and I wait for her to pull it away from me, and that's it. All right, nice and quick. Alrighty, let's look at death adders. All right, so I don't have a proper baby death adder. Like baby death adders are probably smaller than the baby tigers, and again, they're a live-bearing species. But I do have a juvenile here that's about this long. So I'll just grab my highly sophisticated bin lid. This snake is beautiful too. Really nice grey death adder. Come here, little mate. Oh, isn't that a good looking snake? Heavily banded. This snake's about 2 years of age now. So I'll sit him in here, and yeah, have a go at that. He's got a really nice black caudal lure. He's got little white spots on it as well. And yeah, heavily banded grey. So he's one of the local adders. What he just did then is really typical for an adder. So he pulls his head in nice and close to his body, and then he can, so if you imagine a bubble about that big around him is where he can strike. And at the moment, like as I put it over, so he's making himself look bigger. He's flattening himself out, spreading those ribs. Look how flat he is down the back here. Look at that. Just flat right out. Come near me, boom, I'm gonna botch her. All right, so I'm not gonna muck around with him, but you can see he's already got, well, sorry, I should say she has a great set of venom glands there, really, really large. But imagine that in the bush, covered in a bit of leaf litter, you would have no idea that thing's sitting there. Crazy camouflage. Super toxic venom. So for the adders, when it comes to how long, like sometimes we do try and breed the adders, or sometimes I'll get in a clutch of juveniles from someone. You're looking at about 3 to 3.5 years before they're going to be used for venom extraction. I did say before with the Taipans it's about 3 years. It's actually about 2 to 2.5 with the male Taipans. The female Taipans are a bit smaller, so they're usually about the 3-year mark. So yeah, the Taipans are definitely the earliest to be getting their venom taken, where the majority of others are quite slow growing, and these guys, yeah, typical. So yeah, it's about a 2-year-old snake. So he's probably got another year or so of growing, and she'll be ready for venom extraction. So what we'll do now is we'll look at one of the adults, we'll look at one of the big adults, and I'll collect some venom, and we'll have a look at that yield that an average size adder. Definitely one of my favourite Australian species of snakes. Hey. Alrighty, so I'm about to get out one of the big adders, but I just wanted to talk about the bin lid. I have had a few comments and questions about the bin lid. I've been using a bin lid with death adders for literally 2 decades, even before I started here at the park. But the reason I like them is, like, when it's on there, if the snake turns and starts coming towards me, I'll literally just go whoop and spin him. But it's a bit of an eyesore among the marketing department. They're not stoked about the old bin lid being on camera. So do you guys have any ideas for me? All right, so if you've got anything up your sleeve or you want to make something, let me know. All right, never know what's floating out there. Now, back to death adders. You've seen that last one I had out, light to dark grey banding, beautiful snake, but just the variation in death adders and their colours is insane. Like, have a go at this one. So this one's like a dark maroon sort of a colour with bits of grey and speckles and so on, and then it's got like a white and yellow caudal lure. The one I'm going to get out now is a really nice red snake. The red death adders, I don't know, I can't pick between the greys and the red. They're both my favourite. So I'll get this one out. Now, this is the second biggest adder we have in the program. She's an absolute unit, and I love her. I love her, sorry. Whoop. She's a little bit cranky though, I will admit. She has a monster head, like he's so big. But have a go at the red. Look at her, isn't she stunning? Even like orange on her. Now, there's actually, this is the common death adder, right? The ones we milk here, they're the most toxic. There's 7 species of death adders across Australia. and they're all wildly looking. But the ones out in the desert are like the orange and red of the reds, like the sands out there, and they are stunning looking. They are literally called the desert death adder, or Pyrrhus. Ooh, that could have been bad, Bilbo. Oh no, I'm gonna have to go left hand here. Not my favourite with death adders, especially when I've got a sore finger and still got nail polish on. Look at the pink underside of her. Really nice snake. I'm going to get her in the venom vial because she's extremely wiggly. So she's wild caught, and she was a wild caught adult from quite a few years ago. She's probably, I would imagine, 10 to 15 years of age, going off her size. And look at the venom glands. Every part of these guys is camouflaged. Even their eyes have different colours for their eyes. And then they've got that long black split down. And obviously Bushka, fastest bite on the planet. Oh, my finger is sore. Look at that. There's a day ruiner right there. So there's like a couple 100 milligrams of highly toxic, neurotoxic venom that will absolutely wreck you. All right. Oh, wow. That is wild. So yeah, you've probably seen on my socials, Big Shazza. She's the biggest death adder. I'm going to measure her in one of my Venom Diary videos soon because I reckon she's like almost 110 centimeters now. And I need to measure this girl. Now, I did an Instagram post with this one a little while back. G'day guys, how you going? For a naming of her. And a lot of people were saying Karen, like Sheila and stuff like that. So I haven't decided on anything. If you guys have any names you reckon we should call her, drop it in the comments under this video and let us know. I'd like it, like Shaz is, I like the name Shazza, but yeah, I'd like maybe like something like traditional, like a native name, I guess. I did think of Noah, but yeah, you guys let me know what you think, and we'll name her. All right, but yeah, she's one of my favourite snakes in the program. I love her, and yeah, she's beautiful. Nice big common death adder, and have a go at her. Look how thick she is. Look at my arm there. Isn't that crazy? So big. Now the scariest part of death adders is letting them go. I wouldn't normally go left-handed on an adder, and I hurt my left index finger at training the other night. I just needed to pull away from me. My finger's so sore, it's bruised down the center there and it's still swollen, but forgot about it until literally I grabbed her by the head. All right, so one of my baby king browns, or sorry, they're all up there. They're in the other collection. So we don't mix these two collections, right? These are a new collection, that's an old collection. It's just a biosecurity thing. So we're gonna run up there, film that little fella, cute as, and then we're gonna float back down here and check out his old man. Alrighty, so this is a baby king brown. He's only a few months old, and have a go how cute he is. And yeah, this is Australia's largest venomous snake. Obviously only a little bubba. He's just shedding his skin, and I'm pretty sure his old man is shedding his skin right now as well. So I did notice that when I was walking through the facility before. So yeah, they're both shedding at the same time. But yeah, we breed these top end localities because they get so big and they give us so much venom. They're a really tricky species to breed. King Browns are extremely foody, so when I pair them, I get really nervous because I've heard of terrible stories where people have paired them and the males have grabbed the females and actually tried to eat them because they will eat their own species in the wild. So I don't want anything like that happening to my snake. So yeah, it's crazy. And the pairings, like it's in the wild, male snakes a lot of the time will combat. So they come across each other and they're smelling the same pheromones being released by a female. And they come together, these two boys, and they just punch on. So they just wrap around each other and it's just wrestling. They don't really bite. And then the winner will follow that scent trail, find that female and mate with her as quick as he possibly can. And yeah, so the males will actually caress over the female. They've got these little spurs down the back here. Like the King Browns don't really have very big spurs, but they will try and do some sort of scale to scale stimulation to encourage her to put her tail up. Because as you can imagine, like mating is pretty hard for an animal when you've got no arms or legs to sort of hold on, if that makes sense. So they've got to wrap the tails around each other and then they just lock and they can be joined for hours at a time. Sometimes males will hang around that one female and try to mate repeatedly. And sometimes even with certain species, you end up with like mating balls or breeding balls where there's like if you look at green anacondas, for example, the biggest or heaviest snake on the planet, they can have like over 100 males on them just piling in. They're much smaller than the female. And just that lucky fella gets one of those hemipenes in and boom, he's going to be dada. So snake breeding, and it can be really stressful. It can be really exciting. It can be really romantic. And yeah, then mama, you know, she'll, for the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, develop those eggs, and then she'll shed her skin, completely go off her food. I'll put a nest box in there, so it'll be like a timber box with sphagnum and a bit of soil in there. And at the right time, maybe about 30 days later, she'll climb on in, curl on up, and she'll lay those eggs individually. And king browns, like I think this guy's from a clutch of 18, lay the eggs, and then with these venomous snakes, they just cruise. The babies are left to hatch by themselves. Mum doesn't hang around. Pythons will curl around the eggs and actually shiver every couple of seconds to try and maintain the eggs a bit warmer, where these venomous snakes incubate a little bit cooler. So they're just down in an old goanna burrow or something like that. And then when they hatch out, they've got a little egg tooth on the tip of their nose, and they use to split open the egg. They stick their heads out, have a quick look around, and then bushka, they're off. They don't hang around to find out who their brothers and sisters are. They are gone skis, all right? Okay, let's go and see Dad. Now we're going to look at Dad, and Dad just shed his skin, but he's got a bit stuck on his face and the top half of his neck here. So I'm going to get that off him and then I'll milk him, because he hasn't been milked for almost a month now, but he's going to be extremely foody, all right? It's a hard thing with black snakes is anything that goes in that enclosure, they will get a hold of it, including my hand. So they're real foodie snakes. But yes, he's got a bit of shed stuck on him there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restrain him and I'll peel all that off. All right, so got him. Now I might come up to the table here. I'm going to get the death out of venom out of the way. All right, so I mainly just want to try and get... Sometimes the snakes have a bit of trouble shedding, so you just peel it off. And most people don't realise this. They actually shed they've got their eye scale right there. But yeah, they shed their eye. Crazy. Second one just came off there. It's just really playing with fire. Fingers around the front here. And there's that other eye cap right there. Isn't that crazy? Imagine if we shed our eyes. King browns, depending where they are in Australia, some of them get massive, some of them are not so big, but these top enders get huge. So I'm just going to get him on the vial because he's just going to start chewing on something if I don't. Oh, what? Yep, that's why we got these top enders, as you can see there. So, but the reason, yeah, like we keep these top enders because we can have less king browns and actually produce more venom. And these are the ones I breed. Now, they're really hard to breed because when they go through the cooling period in the wild, they generally go down into like cool, humid burrows. So I need to mimic that inside their enclosures. If I let it get too cool and too dry, they can end up with a respiratory infection. All right, so I just do the humid, cool temperature for about 3 months, and then we pull them out, and the females will actually start to do like follicle development through that period, and then they ovulate, and we pair these in with them. And it is really, really exciting. The king brown is Australia's biggest venomous snake. I know I've said it before, but it's crazy. They can literally get over 3 meters in length, weighing 10 kilos. So that is a snake you would not want to take it. To be honest, I'd probably rather a bite off an eastern brown snake, like an average size 5 or 6 foot brown snake, than a 3 meter king brown, because it would just be an overwhelming effect of venom. It'd just be wild. All right. And I honestly don't know if you'd survive it. This fella's just chewing away, so I'm going to take him back here He's still going. So back in, mate. Look at that. Isn't that wild? And it just blows my mind that we use this to save human lives. I just can't believe it. It's crazy. Imagine back in the day when they thought of this. Like, you know, sitting around, how are we going to make anti-venom, guys? The ones we're making is not working. Let's just get some venom and we'll inject it into some horses and then we'll take their blood plasma and then we'll stick it in people and see if it works. And it worked. It's crazy. Look at it right here. So this is the black snake. So if you got bitten by a king brown, that's it right there. Literally horse plasma. From that to that. Wild. I don't have any baby brown snakes because we literally never breed them. It's a project I'm going to be looking at. It's just the juveniles, you're looking at about 4+ years before they're at milking size because brown snakes are really slow growing, right? And they're also really hard to get feeding. They just don't have that rodent cue in their brain until they're much larger. So there's a lot, like hundreds of hours of assist feeding. And then we're keeping these snakes for 4 years that we're not even really using for the program, you know? So what we normally do is we just get snakes from Sunshine Coast snake catchers because they're collecting them in areas where they're like literally unreleasable. If you take snakes too far away from where they were caught, they do have home ranges. A lot of the time they get killed trying to get back there on roads, killed by dogs, die of stress. So yeah, we collect from certain areas where Sunshine Coast snake catchers find it hard to release them, all right? But I will show you a brown snake, all right? Because I know you love them and they're always trying to bite me and I know you guys like watching them go crazy. So we'll get one out. Who shall I milk? Not the last episode, but the episode before that with the brown snakes, you would have seen them. They were on fire. This one, we'll see. This one can be a bit of a hothead, but not always. But he looks like he's going to be today. So great. Great for you guys. All right. Hey, enough of that. So just let me focus a bit here, guys, because I feel like this one is about to explode. Oi. Now, just going to keep him moving. Let's go. Straight there. All right. Whew, first go. Now, sorry, second. The brown snakes are really unusual, right? They're usually either heavily banded or they've just got like one black band up around their neck and sometimes a black shield. This one's got the reminiscence of it. It's still got a little bit of black there and it's got a bit of black in the neck as well, in against those neck scales. So yeah, they're really, but like I said before, the tigers, how some are banded, some aren't in clutches. I've seen that a few times with brown snakes too, where they come out, half the clutch will be banded, half won't be. Ooh, nice. Almost half of a pet straight up. That is a very dangerous end there, mister. Thank you. So that's a good yield. Back in there. But yeah, it's wild, the patterning amongst brown snakes, and I know I've touched base on this before, but just the colour variation in them. From this, you know, I don't even know what you'd call that, like a speckled caramel sort of a colour. You know, you can see on the flanks of the scales, it's like a light edging and then it sort of goes black to the opposite side. And then typical brown snake, that really nice spotted underbelly. This guy's a prime example of that. Little pinhead, big eyes, primarily diurnal, you know, cruise around the daytime. But yeah, so a project I'm looking at doing is breeding certain snakes, because like not all these, like I get the majority of the Eastern Browns I get are between 5 and 6 foot long. They're big, but they're not always great milkers. So what I want to do probably from next year, I guess 2026, I'm going to start pairing the really good milkers, like some big, impressive milking males with some of the smaller females. The boys do get bigger in their species, and I want to work towards, I guess, over a 5 or 6 year period of producing brown snakes where I've just got clutches that just produce crazy amounts of venom, because these guys are responsible for the most fatalities each year in Australia. you know, they're definitely got the most amount of anti-venom used is from brown snakes. So yeah, I want to start producing more venom with them. The population's growing. In saying that though, people are starting to become more snake smart than they used to be, you know. A lot of people are leaving snakes alone now. They're calling snake catchers if they're in the backyard. That's what we want to see. Because the majority of snake bites are people mucking around with them. That shouldn't be. You know, dads and generally males showing off or trying to kill snakes. Alrighty. So get you back in there. Thank you. Alrighty. So that is going to be it. And like I said before, we're almost at 10,000 subscribers. So let's go, let's hit 10,000 and then we're going for 20, 30, 50, 100, 1 million. All right, that's the pipe dream at the moment. So we'll see how we go anyway. We've got a bit more coming up in the next few months, some exciting things. So anyway, you know the drill. Like, share, tell your mates, and I will see you for the next episode.